Hello, this is Lee with 82 Game of 12 here on YouTube channel Sons of Liberty 75. This will be 51, video 51, if you can believe it, over my comparison of the Talavera battle. Took place in July the 27th and 28th of 1809 in Spain. So it's been quite a journey going through this, and it's a comparison. So there were three different games used. We had the La Bataille, Talavera, and we had the Gamers slash MMP Talavera, which was under the Napoleonic battle system, originally named the Napoleonic, the Napoleonic Brigade system. And then we have Kevin Zucker's The Library of Napoleonic Battles, Napoleon's Quagmire, volume number 7 in that series, produced by Operational Studies Group. That's the only one we have still going. And so we are on turn, the 4 o'clock turn. We just had the reorganization phase in the last turn. And on those turns, they're marked on the turn track as recovery. Okay, that's where you check weather. Occurs every 3 turns. So you check weather, you check whether or not units are going to be recovered. And then if they are recovered in the recovered box, then you're able to restore them back to the map if a late leader is available. And so that's all under Rule 22.2 of the, this might be an older rule book. Let's see what I think it is. This is, version, let's get to the front of the book. 7.35. Maybe it is the newest version. 2021. So there that is. And it has the new text in blue. So not a lot has changed over the years. A few things here or there. But, and of course, things have been added as different volumes have been introduced due to the fact that you needed certain things, like guerrillas. You didn't have guerrillas in Europe. Okay, Spain is the one that where the guerrillas had to be introduced because the populace would not submit to French rule. And so they rebelled, and they fought against the French. The people, you know, they organized, a lot of these organized with their friends and neighbors and fought against the French. And that's something that's unique with the Peninsular War that you didn't have with the European countries. Okay. So let's get started here. Maybe we can squeeze in more than just one turn in this video. I do want to reiterate that at the present time, if we were to stop where we're at now, the French would have a marginal victory. And that's all explained in the prior video. You might want to look at that toward the end. Go ahead and watch or fast forward till you get to some text coming out, and I explain the victory points that each side has and how the French have an advantage. And the biggest advantage they have victory-wise is through the leaders that have been captured or / killed. So the French have not lost any, while the coalition, seven leaders have been captured. We've got Payne, Stewart, Hill, Campbell, the British, and then we have Albuquerque, Iglesias, and Hinestrosa for the Spanish. And that has really affected the command control of some of these units. So, this unit turn for. So, let's get started. Another key factor is the fact that the Spanish have been able to cut off the French supply route, okay, which is right here. Let me move this back down somewhere else here. So that is the French supply. That's the only supply line they have. So the French are able to, are not able to get supplies because you have the Alberche here, river. There's several fords, but a train, supply train can't cross those fords. They need a bridge. They could use a pontoon bridge, but the French would have to split off some of their forces to do that. And they may have to do that in order to regain their supply here, something Joseph may have to do. Milhaud is not having any success. One thing is he's not able to get into command. One thing about having your supply cut is you become demoralized. Well, that's going to affect the command rating for these officers. And so Milhaud goes from a 4 to a 3. And so that makes them less likely to get into command. There's the command structure for the French is really it's in chaos, really, because you basically have each individual corps commander in control of his own corps, and there's no really overall leader. Joseph has only one command point, so he has to put his reserve or his guard in command. He's not allowed to, give that point to put Sebastiani in command or Victor or someone else. And that's basically illustrating the fact that Joseph was not a military leader. And so these corps commanders, which were marshals, aren't going to listen to Joseph and take his advice. They want the glory bestowed on them. And that was a big weakness for the French, is the animosity that Napoleon created among his own officers. That could spend probably hours discussing that and the detriment that it caused for the French overall, but especially in Spain, because Napoleon he's in Paris, or probably at this time he's preparing to well, he might be on the campaign already. Well, of course, he's on the campaign over fighting Charles the First, Austrian commander. So, you know, he's not where he can provide any kind of direction or even, you know, pay a visit down here and set things straight. And so you kind of have these corps commanders working alone, okay, trying to gain glory for themselves and not working together smoothly to just get a victory. So, but without the supply, all of a sudden, all of the initiative ratings are going to go down. And so the leaders also, their command rating goes down by 1. So, all right, so let's take a look at, we don't have the weather, we don't have those things to do this turn. We won't do that until 6 o'clock, I believe. Yeah, 6 o'clock again. So the French have 2 turns here to try to regain their supply line. And that's going to maybe be difficult for them to do. So we go to the card segment, which is next. This is what the French have. Countercharge and cavalry pursuit. And we have rain at the present time. Now, I should have, in one of these, I should have a rain marker. Let's see here. But maybe I don't. Yeah, there's the weather. Right there. There's a weather marker. Let's see. I don't think it really shows rain. It just shows dark skies. I need something that's showing rain really to put. Let's see what we got here. Yeah. I don't. Weather recovery. So what some of this is. Okay. I don't have what I was looking for there. So, all right, let's get started. So it's raining, and more than likely, rain is going to continue when we roll for rain again, or roll for weather again at 6. Because at 6 o'clock, there's a +2. And if the previous weather was rain, you get a +1. So that's going to be a +3 to the die. So we're going to get at least a 6. More likely, we're going to get something higher than that, but we'll see. So let's take a look, see what the next card is for the French. They get a secure flanks. So this could be used at a moment of a retreat result. So we want to hold on to this. That's a tactics card. So we're going to use one of our other cards. So we're just going to use the cavalry pursuit card. With it raining, there are no charges. No, wait a minute. I guess there is charges, so maybe we don't. Let's see, with rain, artillery is at strength is 3/4. No bombardments. And blocks line of sight. So there are charges. But I think there's a +1 to the die due to the rain. So we've got a countercharge or cavalry pursuit. Now we want to hold on to that one. The countercharge is what we're going to use. Okay. And we're just going to use it for the movement, 4-6. So I'll put it out here. And we still have this card that is in play for two more, for this turn and next turn. And the coalition chose lack of fodder, so cavalry movement is reduced by 2 for all French cavalry. And then if there's any reinforcements, then they're going to be delayed due to false directions from guides. So that is in effect. And I put it up there so that it's on the map, so that I kind of know that it's there. Something else that I was looking at was these guerrillas. Okay, I have 2 guerrilla units on the map, here and here. Okay, now if they're going to move, I have to roll. Now last turn I didn't roll when I moved them. You're supposed to roll their initiative. If you roll a 6, they're just removed. So anytime you're checking initiative and you roll a 6. Now, they can burn bridges, they can repair bridges, they can do things like that. But they're not a combat unit, per se. You know, they have a 0. They're like a vedette, okay? So they're not able to capture pontoon trains or supplies. Only a combat unit can do that. So they're basically used for spying and revealing units. They could also mislead your opponent if you were playing 2-player. Could be used to mislead your opponent to units. Okay, you could be moving them around. They're not for sure what that is, moving around out there. The other thing is, if you're playing with hidden movement, where the units are moved unless they're observed in line of sight, then, you know, you can use them to, you know, spy and also be out there to see what units are where. You can move them over and they can, you know, look to see what's there. Now you can also turn them into a roadblock. So there's many different uses for them, but when you're playing solo, some of those uses really are just kind of not really useful, because, you know, I know where everything's at. So, but in the special rules, it's rule 25.8 is where the guerrillas. Now, I think in the Peninsula War Part 1 volume, that there was I think the guerrillas or there's more information given, okay, about the guerrillas and how they're used and so forth. So, and I talked about how much influence they had in the French dispersing their forces throughout Spain, because they had to combat these guerrillas attacking their supply lines and so forth. So, all right, let's get started. So we've played the card. Next comes the command phase. We don't have to check supply. That was checked in last turn, and we know that the French are out of supply. So we don't have the recovery segment. We did that. We don't have reorganization. That was last turn. We're having it turn the 6 o'clock turn again. Command segment. So we're going to look to see what units are, what officers and units are in command. So we allocate command points, and as I said, Joseph has to allocate his command point to his units, okay, which are the reserve and the guard, his guard. So reserve guard, I guess you could call them. So that's what we have. Now we have to roll for these other leaders, okay? And so we will start with Milhad down here, and we will roll for his whether he's in command or not. He's got a 4, but that's going to be reduced to a 3. So, and I rolled a 6, so we're going to put a out of command. Again, he is out of command. That's quite a few turns in a row. Okay. So Joseph is in command. We already know that. Okay, now we're going to look at, let's pull in here a little closer. We're going to look at Sebastiani. Right there. He also has a 4, so we have to get a 3 or less. And I rolled a 3, so he's in command. Now let's go over to Victor. Victor has a 4, which becomes a 3. Okay, rolled a 3 for him. He's in command. And finally, we go to Latorg. And again, he's a 3 because he's out of supply. And I rolled a 1. All right, so everyone is in command except for Milhod. Now, this, let me pull back a little bit here. This artillery unit here is out of command. It belongs to Victor. And Victor is 1, 2, 3, 4 hexes away. As an officer, he only has a command range of 3. So I've got to put an out of command marker on that unit. So he's out of command. All right. Let's see if I have anybody else of that. Let's see. Well, these guys over here are going to be out of command. Should have moved Victor closer. How can these guys be? Oh, they moved up. But if they moved up, oh, they were in that, I think they're in that, they don't have to fight if they're in that defensive, yeah. They're in that improved position. They don't have to fight anything within in their ZOC. So, all right, so Victor's got 1, 2, 3 here. 1, 2, okay. This cavalry unit is the only one of Victor's that's out of command. I have to roll for that one. Okay. So, what we're going to have okay, so these guys are locked in. Okay. All right, so now we go to movement. And so we move all of the units that are in command. And then any of the units that are out of command and still able to roll for initiative would then roll. Okay. Milhod will not be able to roll his units because he tried to gain command and they are within his command range. So, all right, let's start with, I think what we're going to do, the French are going to, they're going to rotate forces, number one, toward their supply line, and also to try to get a push on Talavera. They don't really think that they're going to have much success here at facing the British. So they're going to just kind of rotate this direction, and hopefully at some point Milhod can get activated. So let's see Joseph here. We've got Bataille. Okay, now Joseph can actually activate Bataille, even though he's not under his command. He's got a command point of 1, which means he can activate his command, and then he can activate one individual unit. So he's going to, well, he's probably going to leave Bataille there where they're at, and they're going to move together. Let's see. So this cavalry unit normally moves 7, but because of the populist card played by the coalition, they have their movement reduced by 2, so he's only got a 5. So let's see here. Just leave those 2 guys right there. They're all stacked here. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This unit here. Oh, we got another cavalry unit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this guy. 1, 2, 3, 4. This artillery unit now is going to, so I still have Bataille here. So this artillery unit is going to go road march and go 1, 2, 2, 3, and then come out of road march. And Joseph is going to move to there. This guy, 1, 2. Yeah, he'll go there. All right, and then we have, so that's Joseph's move. Then we have Strauss here. Can only move 5. 3. He'll move to there. Okay. So I'm going to have Bataille move here. This guy here. 1, 2, 3, or 2. And then Sebastiani. So they're going to shift. So what all I got here? Okay. I'll do it this way. Toussaint and an artillery unit. They have to go by road there to get down from that slope. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Go there. Schaefer gets here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And Sebastiani. Three goes to there, and he's still got, so he's got Bataille here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now Victor is going to have to fill this gap right here. Or, yeah, that's what's going to have to happen. All right, so Victor now, these guys have to stay because they're in this British unit ZOC. But it's artillery 1. Okay, so they go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Victor's still there. We're going to let Latour take care of that, so these guys are going to move. So 1, 2, 3. Got to be careful how this artillery moves. They're going to have to move back up this way. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And then we have Latour. 1, 2. 2, 3. All right. Okay. Good chase these guerrillas. All right, so Latour wants to try to hang on to these victory points here. Okay. And so I'm not going to even try to move this unit, but this artillery unit I'm going to try to move. Now, just so we know which one we're talking about, is this one right here. It has a initial rating of 3, but because of out of supply, it's a 2. I rolled a 6, so they're not going to move. They're just stuck there. Okay, so we have, let's see, we're not going to have any retreat, cavalry retreat. We won't have any artillery reaction fire. There's no bombardment. We don't have any cavalry charges. So we've got a couple of attacks here. One, we'll start over here. Pakenham. So we've got Laplane and Solidnak. So we've got a total of 12. Okay. These guys are in that improved position. So their defensive strength is going to be... let me check that again. Okay. Infantry times 2. So the infantry will be multiplied. So, got them right here. Okay, so Stuart is be 6. This is going to be 3/4. So 6 3/4 is just going to be 6 against 12. So that's going to be 2-1. So 2-1. I got to roll a 4. 2-1 chart. Okay, with a 4. Let's see which one's the 4. It's going to be the white one. 2-1. That's a DR. So now we have to roll to see if Pakenham's going to be a casualty. And I rolled a 6, so he is. So once again, another loss for the French, for the British. Okay, Pakenham. So that just adds to the victory points. Of course, the French can't advance because they're demoralized. And once again, we'd have to be looking for leaders. And in this case, let's see, he was replacing Heel, who was a 4. He's a 3, so now we're looking for a 2 replacement. And he was replacement himself. So I don't believe I have any replacements left. I think I'm going to have to go, yeah, I think I'm going to have to go look in another, let's see, yeah, I don't believe I do. I think all of these are going to be, all of these are Spanish leaders. I don't have any more British replacements because we've had so many losses. So now I'm looking for one that has a 2 rating, and I don't think I have. Let's see, I don't know, I don't have that. I'd have to go digging around somewhere. I should have another box somewhere that has some leaders. So at the present time, I guess we're just going to use, what hill is this? The, yeah, 2nd Brigade. So, let's see here. Should have that one somewhere here. 4th. There's the 1st. Where's the 2nd? There it is. So I'll put this on the turn track. Be next turn, I guess. I think it's, let's see. I gotta make sure. Captured leaders. Two turns in the future. Okay, so 2 turns. So it won't come in until 6 o'clock. So, all right, we can advance there. All right, so let's go over here. We've got a couple of units there attacking Langworth. Okay. So we've got Langworth and Kemus being attacked. And they are in Orchard. Okay, no defensive advantages there. All right, so we've got Pataki and Schaefer with the 4th Regiment. So that's 7 plus 5 is 12. And Langworth with Kemus is 6. So again, we got a 2-to-1. 2-to-1. I rolled a 1. So on the 2-to-1, rolled a 1, that's going to be the top. That's a DR2. So they've got to move 2. So, let's see here, Quest. They're right there in that clear hex. I guess he's going to come back here. Well, let's see. Yeah, he can go there. He can go there. So I could just come right back through here. Just put him right there. And again, I just want to stress that what happened here? There. I want to stress the fact that the French are unable to advance after combat. And, you know, that's when you're trying to gain territory, especially an objective, you know, that's difficult to do because you push them back and then they just come right back. So, let's see here. What happened to my... How come all this got moved? I don't know. Some of my counters got moved somehow. I guess I moved them one way or the other. All right. So that took care of the combat and the activation of the French turn. So now we turn over to the coalition side. And so, let's see, I can remove this. and this. We start with the cards, and we have Guerrilla Raid. And we don't really want to use that. So we're just going to use it for the movement and not use it because they're already out of supply. And we don't want to move one of their cavalry units over here where they can then attack the Spanish units from the rear. Well, it says they have to remain at the supply outage for at least possibly 1, 2, or 3 turns. But we still don't want that. So we're just going to use that as for the turn. So I'll just put it out here. Let's see, let's take this one out. All right. So we then move to the command phase where we go straight to the command segment. Okay. And so we have Cuesta here. He has 1 command point. And so he has to decide who he wants to give that to. He could give it to Del Parque, which I think he may do that. Let's see what Del Parque, he's got, he's got some units to move. So he'll give that to Del Parque. And then we have Wellesley here. Okay. And let's see. Of course, Hill's division here is struggling. Well, let's see. I think. Yeah. Wellesley can put 3 of those. So he can put all 3 of Hill's division in command. So he's going to activate Sherbrooke, okay, which is 1, 2, 3 hexes away. Hanson over here is going to end up being out of command. Let's see, so he activates him. He also activates, who's under here? Mackenzie, so that's 2. And then activate Murray, that's 3. And then these guys here, if he activates these 3, he can't activate these. But we need to move back up to keep Victor's units in kind of stuck. So let's see. Yeah. These guys here are going to be out of command. They're going to have to roll. Okay, so those guys. And then this unit here. All right. Now, I have to roll for these other leaders. So we have Zayas over here, who has a 3. So with Zayas, okay, he's got a 3. I rolled a 6, so he's out of command. He won't be able to move. We've got this 1st Cavalry, which is Hinestros's regiment, and he's actually got a command rating of 1. I rolled a 3, so they're out of command. We have to find some more out of command markers. Manglano has a 2. I rolled a 4, so he's out of command. All right. We've got Portigo. I rolled a 5. He's out of command. Let me find all of my out of command markers. There's Alba has a 1. Okay, I rolled a 3, so he's out of command. Okay, then we over here, we've got Bassencourt has a 2. I rolled a 6, so he's out of command. And then O'Donnell, he's commanding Albuquerque's 2nd Regiment, Cavalry Regiment. I rolled a 1, so he's in command. He's the only one. All these others aren't. Okay, so there's not going to be much that the coalition can do. So, all right, let's move in here to Cuesta. And what we have here is we have Del Parque. And so he's going to move forward. Let's see, what does it cost for that artillery to go into an orchard? Okay, just 1. Okay. So they're going to move 1, 2, right there. Cuesta is going to move up here so he can command some of those units. Okay, oops. That should be right there. Come on. Okay, and then Wellesley here is going to activate these guys. So this guy's going to move into there. And then both of these guys. Sherbrooke. Just going to hold his ground. Really, Donald don't want to do anything either. He just wants to stay where he's at. So Donald over here, O'Donnell's not going to move either. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to move that back. This one here, 1, 2 right there. This one over here, we're going to move back. 2, back in there. And I didn't try to move the gorillas. I guess I should have. Now let's see, this unit here and this unit here, I could actually roll to see if they could move. Okay, let's see what this guy is. Okay, needs a 4. I rolled a 2. Okay, so this unit here can move. So 1, 2, 3, 4. He moves over here. These guys, top unit, rolled a 6, so no, they're not going anywhere. All right, so we don't have any combat, and I'm going to remove all of these out of command markers. What's under here? Yeah. All right, so that will be the end of the coalition turn. So that's the end of the 4 o'clock turn. And again, move this card. Again, the key here is the fact that the French need to regain their supply to be able to really take territory. All right, so 5 o'clock. We have the card segment. Pull out the card. Fire. The player of this card selects 1 hex for a fire. Any one woods or town hex within 2 hexes of a friendly combat unit or vedette, not an enemy zone of control. Set the hex on fire by placing the fire marker. The fire marker remains on the map and costs 1 movement point to enter for the rest of the game. Roll to determine the prevailing wind. Place a smoke marker 3 hexes from the fire marker in that direction. Fire and smoke block line of sight for the rest of this and the next 2 turns. Then remove the smoke marker. Now that's a -1. Is it worth it? I don't think so. So I think they just use the card for the movement, and that's it. It's not going to be beneficial for them to set fire to something. So they're just going to use that for movement. All right. So card segment. Now we go to command phase, and we go to the command segment. So we know Joseph is going to give his command point to put his own command. So here we are. We have to roll for these other individuals again. So we'll start down here with Milhad. Rolled a 2, so he's in command. Okay. Sebastiani. Gotta have a 3 or less. I rolled a 6, so he's not in command. Victor. Another 6, so he's not in command. Latour. A 3, so he's in command. All right. Let's see, this unit here is still out of command range. Victor. This unit over here is still out of command of Victor. Let's see what we got over here. Terrain-wise. All right, let's start our movement down here where Milhad is at. Okay, so this guy here was actually be able to withdraw from these guys. So, yeah, let's move in here. One, two, three, 4. Just like that. Okay, and then let's see here. Joseph. What's he got here? Oops. Okay, now these guys still have, we're still under the populous card here. Okay, so right here, cavalry movement's reduced by 2. So these guys both have a movement of 5. So okay. Okay, so they're going to use road movement. So, road march. So they go into road march. Okay, and they go 1, 2, come out of road march, 3, and then I believe Orchard, let's see, 4. Recovery is 2. Yeah, 2. So they're at 3, 4, 5. So that one's there. Okay. So here, let's say 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And then here, this guy. One, 2, 3. He goes to there. And let's see. I want to move this pontoon bridge down. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right there. Okay. All right, so the only other person that can move, okay, it's going to be way over there, which is Latour. And so what we want to do is we want to attack O'Donnell here. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4 right there. And then Latour. So they can only move 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And then this unit here is going to have to move to attack Bassincourt. So he's going to go there. All right, so this unit here I've got to roll for now. Okay. It's going to have a 3 or less. I rolled a 1. Okay. So, oops. They are going to move to right here. And then we have this unit here. I'm going to back up to get to it. Right here. I have to roll a 2 or less. I rolled a 4, so no, they don't get to move. All right, so let's go ahead and do the combat right there. I'm going to have, yeah, no one else can move, except for maybe I could move some supply wagons, but so okay, yeah, let's go with these two here against Bassincourt. And let's see, Bassincourt has an artillery unit, strength of only 1, so it's going to be 4 to 1. Rolled a 4. Okay, a 4 to 1. Okay, we count 1, 2, 3, 4 is going to be a DR2. So they have to retreat. Let's see what the terrain is like. Well, they can go up that road. All right, so they go 1, 2. All right, now we have to roll for the leader. Bassencourt could get captured. Rolled a 4, so he's okay. Now, normally you have to move cavalry in, but if you are disorganized or demoralized, which is being same, if you're out of supply, it's the same thing. Also, let's see, I haven't been doing this, but if a unit leaves march orders, oh, not road movement, march orders, okay. Demoralized units may not advance after combat. Demoralized cavalry may not charge. Demoralized units in chateau exits. So, there we go. They can't advance. All right, so now we have Latour against O'Donnell. Okay. And so if we move Latour back off of here, okay, we're going to have 4. Okay. O'Donnell has 1, 2, and then 3/4. Now, one of the units is coming across the bridge, but the other unit has clear terrain, so it's not going to be effective. So it's going to be 4 to 2, 2 to 1. A 1. That's going to be DR2. We roll for O'Donnell. We get a 3, so he's okay. So they've got to go back to the 2 cavalry units can move back to here. The horse or guns, they have to go by this road, so they got to go here and then here. So they're going to be with Bassencourt. Either that or I have to roll on this artillery house rules for artillery loss due to terrain. Okay, so if you have to go up or down a slope or cross a slope side, or if you have to cross a river, a stream, rivers are going to be, you can't cross anyway, you'd just be eliminated. Then you have to roll to see if you take any losses or you're just eliminated. And again, these guys can't advance, so they're just kind of there. So, all right, so the next combat we have is Lap Lane here against the British units there in that improved position. So we've got Le Plain, and Solganac, that's 12, against Redberg, which is 1. Stewart is doubled, and so is Tilson. So that's 7, that's 14, and 3/4 against, what is this, 12? Okay, so that's going to be 1 to 1.5. Ooh, got a 6. So attacker has to retreat 2. So we're going to move them back. Let's see. 2 back to there. Okay. Now, I'm going to come all the way over to the other side here by the Albachet and the Tahoe. So, first off, we have here and here. And again, I don't think Mailhot's not going to be able to advance unless, let's see. No, you can't even advance to see if this it doesn't allow you to advance. So he could actually just retreat back to here. That's what he does. So now we have Zeus being attacked by Joseph here. So what we have is we've got 3 and 2 is 5. Okay. He's in the orchards there. So this cavalry unit is going to be reduced. Joseph has 5, 6 with the cavalry, and then the guard artillery unit is only going to supply 3/4. So, but with this being reduced, and we probably end up with a 1 there. So 5, 6, might have 7. I'll have to look. So there is a river there, and actually I think there's a bridge. Yeah, a bridge. But since we have this cavalry unit across the stream, it's not a river but a stream, then I don't think he's going to get the benefit of that bridge. So let's see here. Yeah. If all attackers attack across the bridge, well, they're not. So now with the orchard, the cavalry is only at half. And also the artillery is at half. There's no combined arms. So half of 1 is, that's 0.5. Half of 3/4 is not going to be, it's not going to be 0.5. So that means that they're only going to get, it's going to be 5, 6. There's half there, so that's okay. So they get 6 against 5. So it's 1 to 1. All right. Okay, a 4, that's not probably going to be good. Okay, it's a shock. Okay. So a 2 is all they've got. Okay, what do we got here? There's a 4. Okay. So with the shock, that would actually be reduced to a 3 because they're out of supply. So it's going to be 3 to 2. We roll 2 dice, and we determine the winner. Okay, so we got 4 and 4. That means each one will add 1 to their initiative rating. So it'll be 4 to 3. And on the shock table, okay, attacker 4, defender 3. Okay, it's going to be a DR. So they have to back up. And they've only got one place to back up to, which is right here. So they all back up to that hex. All right, now we have to roll for Zeus. 2, he's okay. So they weren't able to capture the bridge. So they're going to go another whatever turns out of supply. They still have their marginal victory. So, next turn is the recovery phase. So we check weather, we check supply, and that's not going to be checked again. And more likely, we're going to have more rain. So that will be an issue. But I think, I don't see the, pull back. I don't see the coalition being able to, really do anything to offset the difference in the victory points. It looks like Zayas is probably going to end up getting, pinned somewhere, where it's going to be difficult for him to retreat. He's going to have to retreat across that bridge. And move some units to block these fords. Otherwise, the French are going to get behind him and in front of him, and they're going to pin him over here, and he's going to have nowhere to go. So that would be a loss of Zayas, 3 more points, and then, some more units here. So just add more to the French victory points. Now, historically, the French have pretty much done nothing, no more than what they did back in 1809. This year, but no control of Medellin or Pajar de Urgana, which I think should have victory points. Okay, that was a key area of the battle, but there's no victory points there. Right here. That's actually where Sebastiani was attacking. Right there. And, there's 10 for Talavera, but the French never made a hard push to Talavera. They put all their forces up here, and it's like, well, how come Medellin isn't given the more significant victory points instead of Talavera? Really, I think 10 should be up there, right here, and maybe this could be 5 or 3 or something. That there is, I don't know the importance of this. Besides just, if the British coalition can gain that would be their victory points, outflanking the attackers. But I think this is too many points. I would put points here. You put points back here. To gaining this, which you're going to get points to gaining that anyways, or this, either one of these, which is, that's the victory. That's the supply basis. You're going to get 4 points for that if you capture those. So but I think this is way too many points here. That basically you're given to the coalition. It should be up there. Right here where Wellesley's at, okay. Maybe a couple of these could have points. So I think that there, having this here for the French is offsetting too much in favor of the French. Because if you take this 5 away from the French total, you've got a much closer battle. And You know, right now, the only reason the French have the marginal victory is all the leaders they've killed or captured, which is kind of crazy. They've lost 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 leaders. And you have to roll a 6. Some very lucky rolls for the French there. And so it was at 20, now it's at 23 points. They get 23 points just from the leader casualties. So, you know, the French are probably not going to, they're not going to regain their supply, which means they may be able to push the coalition back somewhere, but they're not going to be able to take the ground. They can push them back, but then the coalition can just move back up. So if we were to look here at the card stack here, okay, one thing that might give the French a large advantage would be additional troops that they could then use to, you know, maybe take Zayas and then come over here and threaten Talavera. But that would be the reinforcement cards. Okay, so we have from the Jaws of Death. Okay, that's where you're, you know, you don't have anywhere to escape to. You can use that card. Okay. So we have Approach March. Okay. That would be, okay, so we've got turn 6 and 7. There's turn 8. All right, so turn 8 o'clock, okay, we would get reinforcements. And then we have to roll to see when they come in. You know, maybe they don't come in till after the game's over, you know. So if I was to roll like a dice, you know, I rolled a 6, so they don't come in till 3 turns later, so they don't even come in. So I don't know where the rest of the reinforcements, let's just see, where's the rest of the reinforcements? All right. I think they only, yeah, there's the other one way down there. So that's that, you know. It's going to be a French marginal victory. A little unhistorical, but the battle results are historical. It's just the fact that the coalition lost too many leaders. And that's really luck. It all came down to luck. You know, otherwise we just kind of have a standstill. You know, but you know, if the French don't have this easy 5 points to gain, and it's easy because this is where most of their forces are at, right here. So it's easier for them to slide over them. The British don't have the forces to string out to hold that. So that's 5 points easy that the French shouldn't be able to have. They should be forced to, you know, you got to take this, because that was the historical fight. Right there was where all the fighting took place, there and here. Nothing down here. The French did never attack Talavera. They didn't even attack the Spanish down there. They attacked the Pajar de Vergara, okay, with basically a palisade. Okay, improved position is what it was. Well, there's no points there, victory points. There should be at least 3 victory points right there. 3 here, and I'd say like 8 or 7, something more than 5, you know, and don't give as much for Talavera. You know, I can understand, but that wasn't even, looking at the French, historically, that wasn't even like, you know, they were wanting to beat Wellesley. And to do that, they had to attack him. You know, they left Cuesta's forces pretty much alone. So, I could just, shift some forces to the south and take care of that. In this game, it's much easier to have command. Okay, in the Napoleonic Brigade or Battle series from the Gamers and MMP, you can't move the way that's the design, the command and everything. You can't move your cavalry units. There's units you can't move. And that's not historical. La Bataille, that's more historical. You're not as tied down. The Gamers, that system was too restrictive. And there was a lot of complaints about that. And I can understand it because you give orders, then your forces start marching, and then all of a sudden they'd stop. Well, then they adjusted and said, well, okay, they're only going to have to roll if they're, engaged in combat or they're fired upon. Okay, but still, the command ratings, that they gave their cavalry officers was unrealistic. And, I had a lot of frustration. Not only that, but you're not even allowed, cavalry can't do anything in orchards. Nothing. That's not historical. Penalize them, but they can still attack. It's almost like they're making orchards out to be jungles or something. So that was a big turnoff for me in the NBS system. I think La Bataille and Kevin Zucker's Library of Napoleonic Battles does a much better job of creating a game that's more historical. And it's really hard to compare the two because of different scales. But as a player, you can look at the two different scales and say, okay, which scale would I prefer to play? Do I want to be down in the blood and the mud and the guts and everything and commanding companies and so forth? Or do I want to be pulled out a little bit where I've got brigades, divisions, do you want a more intense combat simulation, or do you want to be pulled out a little bit and more of an operational where you've got, it's more of maneuver instead of really what formation you're in and so forth. Cavalry charges. The cavalry charges here are kind of you have cavalry charges, but they're kind of odd to me, and you can really lose your cavalry units pretty easily by doing cavalry charges in the Library of Napoleonic Battles. So both the La Bataille and the Kevin Zucker get a thumbs up. I really enjoy both of those. Okay, now it's difficult for me to say this because I really enjoyed playing the NBS system, but the restrictions that they have, not only in command, but also the ratings that they gave the cavalry officers, too low. They're ridiculously low for the French. And the restrictions of not being able to do anything in an orchard with your cavalry, to me, is ridiculous. I really like the system, combat system in the NBS, but the command system was a little bit too much. They needed to lighten it up just a little bit, and also make some changes to. I don't know where they came up with their ratings for the different commanders, but they were wrong. On the French side, they were totally wrong. They had the French cavalry leaders were top notch. These guys were battle worn from Europe, okay, and they were being looked at as if they were at the same level as the Spanish cavalry commanders, and even the British. The British cavalry commanders were not that good, and their cavalry was not really that good. It had a horrible issue with control, dealing with pursuits. They would just, if they got an enemy running, then they just went nuts chasing after them, and caused lots of losses and problems. Napoleon did not think highly of his cavalry during the Peninsular War. So here we're going to have a French victory, but like I said, it's due to nothing else than that these victory points here, in my opinion, should not be. There should be no points here for the French. Now, you could give points to the British, okay, and the Spanish, the coalition, to have this objective, but not the French. That and the loss of officers is the difference in the winner, okay, the victor of this battle. And otherwise, we would have a historic victory with a marginal victory by the coalition. You take away half of those leaders, and we're going to have basically a 1-to-1. A standstill like it was historical. What happened in history. So that's where we're at, and then we can move on to some other different things. I want to show my naval game, and I'll do that in one of the next few videos. But I've got so many other games to do. I've also got Kevin Zucker's new volume. I'm expecting to receive it tomorrow. What is it? Napoleon's Counter-Strike, I think is what it's called. So I'll be excited to get that out and get that to the table. But I've got so many other ventures besides starting my own business and trying to get that off the ground. And that's taken a lot of my time. So that's one of the reasons I've been, it's been a while since I posted. So, and it could be kind of spotty while I'm trying to get this business thing going. But I'll find time to do some videos here and there. So I appreciate all you guys out there, gals, that support my channel. And, if you got comments, throw them out there. I like to interact with the people that are watching the videos. So come on back, see what else I'll have in the future. I'm gonna get the musket and pike back up. I also have GMT's, Chad Jensen's the 29th, World War II. Let's see, what else? I've got something else. Oh, well, okay, I also picked up the remake, second edition or whatever, Hoplite. I got a lot of issues with that, but I just have a big fascination with Greek hoplite warfare, so I went in and picked it up. But of course, I've got lots of La Bataille games to get to the table, Abura, and others. So if you have a certain game that you'd like to see or see more of, then throw a comment out there and say, hey, I'd like to see more of this. Then you know, I have an idea of what people are interested in. I can also look at how many views I have in different genres and go from there as well. But you know, I also play what I like, and so lots of games. They keep coming out with more and more. I'm a big supporter of Sound of Drums, and I know that he's working on the second volume of his Napoleonic series. Can't think of what it's called, but of course it has Quadra and what's the other one? It has two games. It has two battles in it this time, and it really looks nice. What I've seen of it, and I'm excited to see more there on GameFound. So you can go to GameFound and look for that. I've got the the Battles of Napoleon. So it'll be Volume 2, Quatre Bras, and I can't think what the other battle is, but it's 1813 battle. Slipped my mind. So I'm excited about seeing that and getting that, because I really enjoyed that system, and hopefully they'll have the rules cleaned up and so forth. I know they were working on that, so I expect to see maybe some small changes there to fix all of that. But the quality of the components are just amazing, and the system is a great system with the blocks, tracking army morale or fatigue, so forth. So a lot of good things happening in the gaming world, and if you got games, I suggest you get them to the table and enjoy them, because I enjoy doing this. I enjoyed playing the games, making the videos, helping some of y'all make decisions about games that you're not for sure if you want to buy or not. Sometimes I help you in saying, hey, that game's not for me, and others it's, hey, yeah, I think that game would be really neat. I want to get that game. So come on back, see what else we do, and hopefully you're having a great 2025.